'Tis the season, Christmas, when Christians everywhere celebrate. Time to enjoy traditions with friends and family. Hey, it's not the only game in town at this time of year. Hanukkah's coming up soon, but for heaven's sakes, that doesn't mean people need to feel guilty for celebrating Christmas cheer. Where this special event gets pecked away to nothing by politically correct pigeons who are afraid of offending someone. Cases like in the Prince Edward District School Board in Ontario. Diane Pope and Bridget Kleppe decorate their buses for Christmas, but they've been told their festive decorations in their vehicles must come down. All that jingle is a form of racism, after all. Christmas pride has become a dirty word. Christmas is in trouble. Disagree? Visit your local Shoppers Drug Mart. How many cards scream Happy Holidays instead of Merry Christmas? How many Christmas parties have you been invited to in recent years instead of holiday parties? And how comfortable do you feel bellowing out Merry Christmas to your colleagues at work or to the cashier in the store? You may as well be shouting out a racial slur. I mean, public schools have already scrubbed Christmas from the classroom. We know that. Most businesses avoid Christmas greetings to avoid the inevitable complaints, dutifully pointing out generic holiday trees. Mark my words, in our lifetime, some politically correct stool pigeon will take a deep look at the annual Santa Claus parade. They'll see St. Nick riding a float with his elves. They'll be dismayed by all the Christmas cheer and filled with terror about how horribly offensive such a gaudy spectacle is to people from different backgrounds. That first pigeon to squawk will be ridiculed, but the idea will germinate and slowly but surely morph into a holiday parade. Santa will be retired, replaced by a group of non-denominational performers dancing and singing to generic music. Time to end this nonsense, folks, about self-loathing and guilt. It's time to end the war on Christmas. Joining us now is blogger extraordinaire Kathy Shaidle from 5 Feet of Fury. Kathy, thanks for doing this.
Well, thanks for having me.
So are we overstating, understating, just about right? You tell me.
I think it's just about right. One thing I have noticed this year is that liberals are kind of getting angry that we're pushing back. So their new tactic is to say, war on Christmas, that's crazy. There's no war on Christmas. You're exaggerating. Well, one of the reasons that I think the war on Christmas is starting to fade away is because people, normal people like you and I, are actually pushing back. So, of course, there looks to be a lot less silliness than there was when people started talking about this about 10 years ago. So it's a typical liberal tactic. It's like the old movie Gaslight. When we start winning, they start calling us crazy and trying to make us think that we're the crazy ones, when they were the ones who started this in the first place.
I can't think of any aspect of Canadian heritage that doesn't bother these liberals. They just want to reinvent Canada and pretend that nothing, past yesterday ever really happened. I mean, it confuses me, certainly, as to why exactly they would want to do that. Sometimes I think they don't even know what they're doing. It's kind of like scripture. They know not what they do. But when I see the war on Christmas, I see a war on Canada. I mean, Christmas is a Canadian tradition. So when you want to strip Christmas out of Canada, I think it's an attack on Canadian heritage.
That's right. And there are two wars on Christmas. Sometimes we do hear about actual individuals who do complain about a nativity scene in public or a Christmas tree in City Hall. But I sometimes wonder if what happens more often is that these complaints don't really exist, and they're a figment of some liberals' imagination. When I was working at a very large Toronto charity one year, about 10 years ago, we had a beautiful official company Christmas card, and it was children playing in the snow. And our white liberal boss got the art director to hand color one of the children and give him or her brown skin, because in her fevered mind there was this imaginary angry person out there who would have been offended buy a Christmas card with 3 little children playing on it. So how much of this is legitimate complaints from party poopers and people who are just what a friend of mine likes to call human toothaches, and how much of it is actually this sort of bizarre, preemptive, liberal guilt, and it's trying to cut off any complaints before they even happen. I don't know if it's 50-50 or what, but there are 2 different ways that this happens.
Let me ask you this about the guilt thing. What if you're like me, and I'm going to speak for you, and if I'm speaking out of turn, just stop me, but I doubt that you feel guilty. I know I don't feel guilty. So if we don't feel this guilt about the idea that we have Santa Claus parades and Christmas parties, if we don't feel guilty about that, does that make us racist? I mean, by a modern-day white liberal's definition, is there something wrong with us, or what is it that we're not getting?
Well, by their definition, yes, but we have to remind ourselves all the time that we're actually the normal people. Again, it is like that gaslighting movie where someone tries to convince his wife that she's insane, and she's perfectly sane, but it suits his purposes. He's trying to get rid of her. And in the same way, I think a lot of the liberal elites are trying to marginalize normal Canadians because they know that we're in the majority. And whenever people ask me what they should do to try to fight political correctness and sort of take Canada back, the one thing I've always told them over the last 10 years is always say Merry Christmas at your job, no matter what the official policy is. Because frankly, my theory is they can't fire us all. And if we all did it, all the normal Canadians who outnumber the other Canadians 9-1 probably, then all of this would go away. So part of it is fear and fear of speaking out. We can't really blame the elites because in a way a lot of us have gone along with this for a little too long. And I would challenge everyone out there to start fighting back and take a risk and express themselves. Instead of muttering quietly, they should be more outspoken about it.
Well, when the white liberals try to mount I guess I'll try to be generous, a pseudo-intellectual argument on this. They say that all of these icons of Christmas are about proselytizing. This is Christians trying to make non-Christians Christian. This is, you know, them trying to have people convert. I mean, I just find that theory so nonsensical. I don't know what it is about visuals of snowmen and sleigh bells that would make people who are not Christian run to the closest church to convert to Christianity. And,
you know, we're laughing about it because it's an absurd argument on its face. Usually the problem with liberals is they don't tell you the real reason that they're upset. And I think the real reason is a lot of them have sort of tossed off their childhood faith for whatever reason. And, you know, misery loves company. So when they see other people celebrating, they resent it, I think. So they concoct this rather flimsy intellectual argument about Christmas and symbols. And the new one was that Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer story, it causes bullying. I heard that on the radio. And so
right.
we're laughing. And why are we laughing? Because it's ridiculous. If they were just honest and said, you know what, this makes me feel kind of sad that I think I'm too grown up to have fun. Or even something like it promotes consumerism, which is a boring argument, but at least has some kind of real world truth to it. That would be fine. But they just make fools of themselves by mounting increasingly crazy arguments for something that is just so harmless and fun and that people enjoy. I think that they're afraid that someone out there is having fun, essentially.
Well, I think you're on point there. I think when they hurl their righteous fury, if you don't mind me borrowing the great F word from your website, 5 Feet of Fury, when they hurl their righteous fury at this stuff, they do look so angry, as you pointed out earlier. And I guess that's the case. I guess some of these people, somewhere along the lines, have had their joy buttons surgically removed. So this idea of celebrating a joyous season, it probably does bum them out.
Yes, and you'll notice that they get angrier and angrier the smaller the stakes are. You know, if a man with a beard, you know, once a year is the hill you're going to die on for liberalism, I think that means that we've officially run out of real problems. I would like to see these caring, compassionate people put the energy that they put into the war on Christmas into something they usually pretend to care about, like starving children in Africa or the homeless. This doesn't seem worth the amazing amount of words that are printed and the debates that happen on TV. It really doesn't, in a way, seem that important. They've invented this war on Christmas. They're mad at us for noticing that they invented it, and now they just don't know what to do.
I tend to think even the guilt is invented, as in manufactured, as in artificial, because I'm just not feeling the guilt.
Not really.
Kathy Shaidle, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Kathy Shaidle of 5 Feet of Fury.